Parshat Vayeishev deals with Yaakov Avinu living in Eretz Yisrael and what transpired between his sons, particularly Yosef and the other brothers, where ultimately Yosef is sold into slavery as a result of the jealousy that the brothers felt. And we end the parsha with Yosef HaTzadik in prison, having been accused by Potiphar of trying to seduce his wife. What led to this jealousy? What led to the jealousy of the brothers toward Yaakov Avinu, that they felt this way, that ultimately they sold him? So although there are many answers to this question, the Chumash gives us the following insight. The Chumash tells us in Pasuk Hey, now Israel loved Yosef more than all his sons, since he was a child of his old age, and he made him a fine woolen tunic. And the Farshim explain, what does it mean, Ben Zekunim, a child of his old age? Why was that something that created this love of Yaakov Avinu toward Yosef more than the other sons? So Rashi tells us a number of interpretations. He was born in his old age. His facial appearance looked like his father, as well as that Yosef was a wise son to him. Zekunim izeh shekana chokhmah. And whatever Yaakov learned in the academy of Shem ve'ever, he then gave over to Yosef. And somehow or other, this feeling of being a ben Zekunim, whether they looked alike, whether he was born in his old age, whether he taught him all this Torah, this created the reality that Yaakov Avinu made him a ketonet pasim, a fine woolen tunic. We need to ask quite a number of questions. One, we need to ask, what is the connection between being a ben Zekunim and the fact that he made him a ketonet pasim? We need to understand the whole idea of a ben Zekunim. He only taught Yosef HaTzadik what he learned in Shem ve'ever. He didn't teach the other brothers. That seems hard to understand. We need to understand what was the symbolism of this ketonet pasim. And in so understanding, we can then appreciate that the next pasuk, his brothers saw that it was he whom their father loved most of all his brothers, so they hated him and they could not speak to him peacefully. What was it about this ketonet pasim that elicited such a reaction from among the brothers? This is a particularly strong question when we understand, as the Tarat Yoshiyahu, Rav Yoshiyahu Pinto points out, that Yaakov Avinu himself in source 4 understood the consequences of kinah. He lived with a brother who was jealous of him of taking his blessing. Yaakov Avinu, who himself lived the reality of what does it mean when one brother hates another brother. How could he have favored one son over the other son? It makes absolutely no sense. And our final question in this area of trying to understand and uncover this ketonet pasim, what this beautiful woolen tunic was about. The Dvir Kacho explains in source 3 that on the Shlosh Regalim, on the 3 main festivals, we say a special Yiratzon during the Birkos Kohanim, during the priestly blessing. And in this Yiratzon, we ask Hashem that we should find favor in His eyes. And we end this piece by saying, Kishem shenatata et Yosef sivkecha. Just like you gave Yosef, the righteous one, b'sha'ah shel bisho aviv ketonet pasim, at the time that his father clothed him in this special tunic, you gave him l'cheinu l'chesed urachamim, to find favor and grace and mercy, beinecha, in your eyes, and the eyes of all who beheld him. Ask the Dvir Kacho, whoa! When we take a look at the Chumash, we don't find grace and favor in the eyes of the beholder. We find jealousy. How is it possible that we're saying, let us use as a model Yosef HaTzadik when he was wearing this tunic? Just as he found favor, we should find favor. Do we see that he found favor? In fact, the Gemara Shabbos tells us, we learn from here that a father shouldn't show favoritism to a son. Because of this ketonet pasim, because of the money he spent on this, the brothers were jealous of him, and that's how he landed up in Egypt. So we should learn something positive from this ketonet. Seems difficult to understand. And he leaves it as a tzarech iyun. We have to look into this further. What is this Ketonet all about? What is this famous coat all about? How could Yaakov Avinu have done that? In front of the brothers, show this type of outward favoritism. It seems to make absolutely no sense. So clearly, before we begin our study, and Baruch Hashem, there's a what to study here, I'd like to preface our remarks with an idea which is found in sources 5 through 11, which really is a sheer in itself, and perhaps sometime we'll delve into this topic in its own right because it deserves its own attention. But the basic mahalach of the Mefarshim, and this we need to understand, is before we are going to start ascribing different mindsets and reasons and how could he have done it and what the symbolism is, I'd like to take a step back, almost similar to what we did last week in the Gid HaNashe. Yes, there is symbolism, but no,